Hello and welcome to the Australian Gamers Show. I'm Yug.
I'm Matt.
And tonight, on tonight's exciting episode, energy.
That is not energy. That is fucking terrifying.
Woo! We're going to be talking about... Oh, now I can't read your
Now you
writing.
can't read my writing.
New
Jesus.
Xbox controller.
Oh my god.
You can't read your writing.
No, I can't read my writing when you steal my book and point it the other way.
All I'm hearing is... Thank you, read your writing.
Whatever. LucasArts layoffs.
Back to the Future game.
Vanquished demo.
+7.
Bring
November Foxtel.
PSP Essentials.
Dead Rising 2.
Is that it? That was our
Is
topics.
that all we're going to talk about?
We've missed a fair bit of time. It's good to be back with you guys because we've actually had... sometimes we do podcasts and there's like fuck all, so we have to pad it out. But this sort of period... the last 2 weeks, I think, especially, have been like chockers with news.
Well, I mean, a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's starting to ramp up to the Christmas period. I mean, September in itself has like a lot of like big, huge games coming out. You got Halo Reach. You got the PlayStation Move coming out on the 15th.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know, which you've got your big motion controllers and things like that starting to be announced, and it's just exciting in general to be a gamer.
Moving up towards,
even though you know we don't use the term gamer anymore.
No, what we call ourselves now is people.
People, we're just normal people.
Just plain folks.
We're just regular guys shooting the shit, talking on mics and hanging out.
Whatever.
Is that right? No.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look at the release of 15th of September for a start because you've got the Move coming out. I thought that was the 16th actually, but maybe you're right. Maybe
I
it's
keep
the 15th.
getting it fucked up because I try and do events at the bar the night before.
Oh, I see. So the actual night is often the night before.
Yeah, you got Dead Rising 2, which I'm looking forward to towards the end of October, which is cool.
The Wii's Batman and the Brave. PC's getting Darksiders finally, which is, you know, relatively uninteresting.
Yeah.
No More Heroes. Heroes Paradise is coming out on the PS3 and Xbox 360, which is interesting.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's just kind of a redone version of the Wii version. I think it kind of is, except without the masturbation Wii controller movement.
Without anything that made it the game,
which just makes it that just loses my interest.
Spider-House is also coming out that day.
When is that coming out?
That same day, dude. Remember how we're talking about a day?
What day?
That was the 15th of September and has been the whole day we've been talking about.
Splatterhouse. That's awesome. You
have one giant hair in your eyebrow.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's attached. I think it's part
of your eyebrows. Is it part of my eyebrow? Oh, wow.
Or is it... What the fuck is wrong with that hair, dude? It's like you're working at being...
Ow! Ow! Don't try and pluck... Really, that's freaking me out now, man.
That's awesome. It's freaking me out. I can see it. Let's just leave it alone for now.
I can't now. Do you have any scissors? I'm serious. I'm actually serious. Do you have any scissors? This is going to bug me for the rest of the freaking podcast.
Pull it out. I will pull it out.
I can feel it now.
I really wish I had said nothing. I've made a big deal of this.
Are you sure it's that? Because they all feel big, to be honest.
That's the one. That's the guy. Nah, you didn't get it.
Fuck.
Oh, this is the worst fucking radio thing ever. Yug pulls an eyebrow hair out.
Fucking come out.
This is ridiculous. Why are we doing this?
Because it's going to bug me for the... Okay, fine. Just... Yeah. I just need to rub my face. I don't know. Anyway, all right.
Ignore it. Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of games coming out. Some of the ones that are coming out in a little bit really interest me as well. There's things like Vanquished, coming out.
Well, let's talk about that because the demo. Have you been playing the demo?
No. The demo actually came out I think last night. I haven't downloaded it yet, but my plan is to download it today or tonight and give it a bit of a look. I watched a video. It's funny because Bayonetta was really, really popular. Everyone, everyone kind of knows it at least by its sort of style and its combat and all that kind of stuff.
I gotta be honest, I have not heard of Vanquish before.
Okay, well it's by the same people and I've heard people say that it's basically the same kind of gameplay but with different combat and a very different
Aha! I got it.
Yeah, he got it, everyone. It's alright. It's alright.
Fuck, that's massive.
I know, dude. It was freaking me out.
Pubic hairs aren't that big, man.
No. Not that terrifying.
Whoa.
That's like your John Howard hair. You're turning into that.
I'm getting old.
Yeah, it's like a great...
You know you're getting old. Do you know how I know I'm getting old? It's because my nostril hairs. I can actually...
that's not okay.
I've never gotten to that point before. The other day I was looking in the mirror, I'm like, I just sort of reached there. I'm like, wow, it's like a little growth just in that top bit, just below the little tip of the nose.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
this isn't okay. This conversation is not okay.
I'm sorry. All right, Vanquished.
Vanquish.
Okay.
It's by the same people, Platinum Games, and it's been getting
a
bit of
this
press.
This is the next game by the Bayonetta developers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And it's, so like I said, it's been getting a lot of interest and a lot of sort of...
Just because it's the Bayonetta developers or for any other reason?
No, mostly because of the sort of the graphic style and the look of it. It's kind of... What it is it's kind of Final Fantasy-esque over-drama with
Man, that
more
sounds
of a
really
Bayonetta
fucking
type
generic,
combat.
I gotta say.
Yeah, well, I have to say, like, I've heard a lot of people say, wow, it looks awesome. No, sorry, but it just actually doesn't to me. It just doesn't... That's not a word. I put Vangish. Bangis.
Okay, good work.
Which is not even the word. But yeah, it just doesn't look that interesting to me. And it's apparently coming out in October, the end of October, so it's a little way off. But
so hold on, the demo's out now though, yeah?
But the demo's out now.
Okay.
So I guess all we can really do is say, hey guys, the demo's out, give it a look, see what you think. But
okay.
I must admit, I've been quite surprised by how uninteresting it was to me. And
look, I'm not all that interested, mainly because Bayonetta didn't really hold my interest either. So
yeah, fair enough.
That's just my attitude.
But what does really interest me, and it's coming out this month as well, is Brink. Have you seen much of that?
Oh, are you sure Brink's coming out this month? I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's been pushed back.
Okay, I'm looking at a website of upcoming release information, but it's not very reliable.
I would trust me more.
Yeah, fair enough.
These days.
I have actually just done a major update on this stupid thing.
Yeah.
So,
trust me. Do you know why? Because I am always looking at release dates and talking to publishers in terms of...
I do believe you. I do trust you.
Really? You fool.
I know.
Ha! Yeah.
But yeah, it really interests me. I've been watching a few videos of it, and what I particularly like about this one is that it kind of looks like the movement sort of style and control of Mirror's Edge, but with combat that actually works.
See, I always thought the Mirror's Edge kind of would have worked better as a game without combat at all.
Well, no, that's true, but only because they fucked up the combat.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, but I can't think of a game in recent memory that actually successfully did do first-person combat. As in martial arts kind of combat.
But it's not. It's a first-person shooter. It's a first-person shooter, but with the kinds of movements capable in Mirror's Edge. So you can run up walls and along walls and bounce off things.
All right, fair enough.
And, climb up stuff. Which to me, I think could work really well if they get it right.
Yep.
So I'm pretty enthusiastic about that one. And the other thing I really like about it is the graphic style, rather than going for, like, this really kind of straight...
realistic, gritty
look. It's more of a kind of cartoony, overdone...
cel-shaded sort of thing, or
not quite like that, but I guess to a degree more like your Team Fortress 2 sort of style.
Okay,
but more detailed than that. Those are quite flat, deliberately like that.
I like this entire that 2 minutes of you trying to describe that. I could have just show me a screenshot.
Yeah, I probably could.
A picture those. Those are 1,000 words.
Yes, it does. But I'm really interested in that one, actually. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one, since I saw a video a while ago that was just basically a cinematic.
Yep.
Which cinematics don't really show you much, but they do show you a little bit of the art style they're going for and the kind of vibe.
They show the concept as well, what they're trying to actually get you into the game, so I get that.
And I really liked the cinematic for that. It's well worth a look.
I'm less critical of cinematics these days now that I kind of realise, and it seems a lot of developers realise what they're for, which is basically just an overdone trailer to give you an idea of the direction they are ideally trying to go for, but ultimately going to fall short of.
Yeah, pretty much. But I do think it succeeds at what it's going for in terms of, rather than trying to be photorealistic or trying to be gritty, they've gone for character. And I think they've succeeded at that. So that's one to look out for. There's actually a couple of videos on, I assume they're on the Xbox Live as well, but there's some on PlayStation Network, so they're worth a look.
Fair enough.
Highly recommend.
Let's talk about topical stuff that we have said we are going to discuss.
Well, we said we were going to discuss Brink, and we said we were going to discuss Vanquish. We are so far on topic, except for your fucking eyebrows, which have remained resolutely not on topic.
Do you know what I found? I found this green flower clip.
Yeah, that's...
If that eyebrow hair was still there, I could have used... That would have been way more effective and less painful to pull out that eyebrow hair.
No, I don't think it would have worked very well.
So this is,
you
know what?
Get a solid grip.
This is off topic.
This is quite off topic.
It is.
You somehow think that...
Do you know what I like? I like the fact that both me and Matt have done video reviews on Australian Gamer Now, which, might I add, has been years and years in the discussions and talking about. Like, in terms of doing video content, we filmed a podcast years ago. Obviously, we did Game Damage, which was fantastic. But in terms of just filming video reviews, it's something we've been meaning to do for a while.
Yeah.
And having done around. And all of a sudden, both of us can't do it at the same time, quite independently of each other or any decisions as well. And I just like that... You know, even after all these years of knowing each other and hanging out with each other and certain things rubbing off onto each other, not each other, that our styles are still vastly very different. You want to talk about all the news and the information and actually get across the content. I just want to be entertainingly drunk.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like that less than you.
Which part?
I think anything you say instinctively makes me want to disagree with you.
Yes, I know. This is what's so good about it.
So you're like, you know what I like, and I'm like, no, I don't like that. Whatever it was you just said, I know. I think you're wrong, and in fact, I don't think you've thought through it.
That's why it works. You're like my Watson. You're like my Watson.
Mr. I'm Holmes. Oh, look at me. I'm Robert Downey Jr. Aren't I so charming?
Well, if you say so, Jesus. No.
But I'm Jude Law in that scenario, assuming that we're going with the
the more contemporary version
rather than
the older versions, things like that. No, I'm just saying you complete me.
Oh my God! Don't ever say that. Anyway, can we get on with some fucking?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry. Stuff.
Taking it down a notch. Announcement of cutbacks, layoffs at LucasArts was rumored about a few days ago and has finally been confirmed, and very unfortunate, I think.
I know nothing about this, actually.
Well, this is basically the studio. I mean, obviously, LucasArts, I think, has a couple of different studios.
They do, yeah.
This was the one that's done The Force Unleashed 2. And that's essentially gone gold now, so it's basically done. And they've announced a layoff of... I couldn't actually get a specific headcount on the number of people they actually had, so I don't know how many proportionally they've lost. But 60 people gone from their development staff and 25 from their external production and QA team, which is quite a significant number. And people in the studio have referred to it as a bloodletting or a massacre. So it shows that two things: one, people can be really overdramatic, and two, it's probably a lot of people proportionally. So
it's just. Yes, it's sad, and I don't mean to sound superficial about this, but it's not that it's becoming like blunt to hear this every so often that it just you become a little bit numb to it or something like that. I mean, this is 200 people being laid off, but it just seems...
No, it's not. Your maths is appalling.
What?
It's 60 plus 25.
I thought you said 200. I can't read your writing.
Well, I'm not quite sure how you would be unable to read my writing.
It looks like 200.
God, you're making up words now. Anyway, regardless, it's 85 people.
And more importantly, is that usually when a studio lets go of a bunch of people, it's interesting to look at the projects that they previously worked on.
It is,
which usually gives an indication of, you can kind of look at it and go, that's terrible, but...
Well, another thing, you can look at it also and go, okay, so the last game these guys have produced, to my understanding, is The Force Unleashed, which was hugely successful. And they've been working on bringing out The Force Unleashed 2, which, to my understanding, is due for release and on budget and on time.
And it hasn't been that long since the first Force Unleashed.
And it's not like it's your Duke Nukem Forever bleeding the company dry kind of production. So I'm interested in how this, in why this is necessary. What has gone wrong that?
I think the other thing is I've noticed that. I mean, let's also take like the recent layoffs that were at Chrome Studios, in which there were around about 150 people let go.
Now that's a massive.
Now that's just massive, and to the point that I think Chrome Adelaide doesn't even exist anymore. But the reasons for it, when you don't look at it as an employee, when you look at it from the point of the company, was it's not that they wanted to let all those people go. It's that they had no more they didn't have enough contracts to justify continuing to actually pay that amount of staff or actually keep that amount of staff on. With your bigger companies like LucasArts that have multiple developers, the only thing that concerns me a little bit is that the reason they let a lot of staff go is because they've got issues or financial problems with other studios or other projects.
Yeah.
And so they need to cut costs based on a project that's already done, and they might not have a project in the works for that particular company. Do you know what I mean? Or?
Yeah, well, I do, and I wonder whether...
Because they can't look at that and go, 60 people got let off based on the previous successful game and the about to be released, no doubt, successful game as well. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
No, which makes me wonder whether because something I haven't heard mentioned or questioned is this just a cyclic thing? It's not unusual at all for a studio to fire like half their staff once they've finished the game. Could it just be that they just let people go and will rehire some for the next project?
No. That might happen with QA and no, because that happens a lot with contractors and things like that.
Yeah.
And they don't get fired. It's just their contract is up, or it's like their contract isn't renewed. And I do wonder a little bit about media sensationalization or things like that. But don't get me wrong, 60 people is
it sucks.
That's not a bunch of contractors. You know, that's people actually having their jobs, removed, sort of thing. So,
and apparently one other sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, but a result of this is that apparently one of the projects that have been shelved as a result of this is The Force Unleashed 3, which was already starting early development. So whether this is obviously at this point highly speculative, so it'll be interesting to see what happens as a result of that, and what happens when The Force Unleashed 2 is released if it's successful and so on.
Do you remember a time years ago when we didn't report on layoffs?
No, I remember a time... Well, yes and no. I remember a time when we reported if it happened, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now it happens a lot, and we report on it as such.
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking back, because it's been many years now where it's such a frequent and regular thing for a studio that seems to be not having really any problems to suddenly lay a bunch of people off. I kind of think back and I'm like, the whole time we've been running Australian Gamer, I remember in the first couple of years, maybe we just weren't that embedded in the industry to actually know about that stuff. Or I
think we would know still.
Yeah. It's sad.
Yeah, it
is the situation. But anyway.
It is, and I'm hoping it'll pick up. And I think what we'll see from it as well is a lot of the smaller developers that are doing so amazingly well, and I refer to companies like Halfbrick at the moment, whose small game releases have been going so well. They're due to release Rascals soon on Xbox Live, and that'll give them a higher profile still. And maybe, after that they can look at, a AAA title or doing a... Do you know what I mean? So
I do know what you mean.
We'll see a growth of new companies.
I hope so. It's such a very different thing because, you look at Chrome, which is your largest independent.
Yeah.
And in the same way, all these little iPhone developers and things like that, they're little independents as well, in the same respect. And it just worries me a little bit that all it takes is just for one contract not to happen, or a couple of weeks where it's like, we're trying to negotiate something. It just seems so fragile these days, the game development industry. It's a bit of a worry. And even when you do look, and let's be realistic here, look at Halfbrick and it's like, yes, they're going fantastic from an iPhone point of view. Absolutely. Then you look at Fruit Ninja, that's like 1 million sales. That is amazing, fantastic. Let's look at this. $1 million, though. Apple take 30-35%, so that's $700,000. And you've got the cost of your developers. Now, if you've got let's say you got 10 full-time developers working at Halfbrick every year, and it took 3 months to actually make that game. It's just a lot of those costs actually do start to add up. And if you have a run of like a couple of iPhone games that don't do well and don't reach 1 million sales, most of them don't. Most iPhone games out there only do like a couple of hundred, 10, 20,000 or something. If they're really lucky. I don't know. I'm ranting now, so let's move on.
You are a bit,
Sorry.
but I get your point, and I think that I guess that if anything, I just think that maybe some of these smaller companies are going to rise to fill the space.
I hope so. I think it needs to get to a point where it was a couple of years ago, where your smaller independents rise to a point where they, to be frank, then get purchased by bigger publishers.
Yeah, well, that's
how it used to work.
Is that why we're where we are, though?
I don't know.
Because when you've got these giant, mega super companies like, Blizz Activision, Vendy.
That's how it used to work, because then when you're owned by a publisher, you suddenly had stability.
You had stability, but you also have the risk of them simply pulling the plug on your projects.
But that usually didn't mean they'd
Or
pull the
shutting
plug.
them down
That
entirely.
usually didn't mean they'd pull the plug on the company. Usually. It does now. I
Usually.
get that, which is why the whole cycle is a bit fucked. It doesn't seem like your independence can really rise very high. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway. This is all...
Let's move on to something way more upbeat. Let's
Totally.
move on to the Back to the Future game.
I know nothing about this, but I so want to.
A Back to the Future game has been announced the other day, and it's confirmed that Christopher Lloyd will be playing Doc, which is cool. But no one's quite sure whether Michael J. Fox will be reprising the role of Marty.
My hands are shaking in anticipation.
I know there was a comment someone put on our forum that I think was just copied from somewhere else, which is that reports that he'll be playing the role are shaky at best, which is totally not okay. And Talia was telling me actually that there was a post on Reddit the other day.
Yeah.
Someone had a signed autograph from like the sort of early 90s or something, from when he was much more prominent and before he was diagnosed or known with Parkinson's or had any symptoms. And the picture he's actually signed himself. And they'd met him in a diner, like this diner sort of in the middle of the night, and he'd signed a picture for them, but he'd signed it like, "Hey, Zach," or whatever. Try the shakes, they're fantastic. Love, Michael J. Fox.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh.
It's one of those things that if you laugh at that, you're a bad person. I laughed.
Okay, all right, there we go. Tell me more about the Back to the Future game.
There's
what do we know? Because
really
it was Telltale Games.
It's by
was working.
Telltale Games, yeah. And they've done things like the Monkey Island series recently.
And the Sam and Max redone games. Yeah.
So much of what we have is more or less just character art, which is in a very similar style to those games in terms of being cartoony. And
I would assume then by the previous games that it's going to be some adventure-based, digital distributed, downloadable,
that's
episodic
exactly,
game.
To my understanding, that's what we're going for. Sort of cartoony adventure games.
Okay, that worries me a bit.
I'll
tell you why it worries me a bit. I used to collect the Back to the Future comics.
Really?
There were a series of Back to the Future comics, Archie comics, that picked up after Back to the Future 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, I did not know any of this.
And it was the continued adventures of Doc Emmett and Marty McFly.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, I get the feeling that's a fine piece of understatement.
Back to the Future is a beautifully self-contained series.
Yes.
Unless
in fact, it is quite intricately self-contained. Apparently, if you go back now and you play two of the movies side by side, the timing is actually together. So everything that happens in, like, because you know how he goes back to 19 whatever it is,
955.
55. If you play that, like the two bits from 1955.
Oh, really?
They actually sync up completely as people, but from different points of view. You see a bicycle go down the street.
Well, because they actually had to completely rebuild all those sets. For the second one, sort of thing, and they spent a lot of time actually
recovering bits of. But yeah, apparently they're so intricate that they actually are timed together.
So I'd love to know more about this because I like the idea of everyone. We love the Back to the Future universe. And the characters and everything like that, but as opposed to other games that kind of leave it even like Indiana Jones, where it's like, he has more adventures and all this kind of stuff. Back to the Future, no, they didn't go off and have more adventures. They didn't ride off into the sunset, sort of thing. Doc Emmett he went off, but that kind of seemed to be the end of his relationship with Marty McFly. Like it was self-contained. It didn't lend itself.
The Back to the Future time machine.
Was
originally going to be a fridge.
Yes, that's right.
But was it Spielberg?
Yeah.
Spielberg didn't want to use a fridge because he worried that kids would climb in them and die, which happens quite often. Yeah,
and then that's why it was referenced. It was used in Indiana Jones and the Legend of the Crystal Skull.
Really?
Yeah, because Indiana Jones got into a fridge when a nuclear explosion happened.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of funny crossover trivia with that.
Some
Yay, IMDb.
Yay! I know, I love the IMDb trivia page. It's the best page. Like, yes, it's cool to know who did the movie and stuff, but look, that's funny.
Yeah. So we know nothing else about this game other than it's probably going to be an adventure game. There's some character art on there that looks pretty cool, and it's I probably won't want to play it because I like the Back to the Future series.
That's about all we got, really.
Right, okay.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the stuff coming up on the two consoles. Both the consoles are getting some interesting little updates lately,
Yep.
where they're moving into whole new spheres, particularly... Spheres. In particular, the PlayStation 3 is getting a whole bunch more TV-type stuff.
Uh-huh.
They're getting... 7 has just been added as a, offset watch later type thing. So there's something called Plus 7 now that's been added to
As
the
in
PS3.
Channel 7?
Yeah. You know how they've got iView? You know how there's the ABC iView?
Yeah, you can watch it online, yeah.
Well, 7 now offers the same service on the PS3, which is interesting.
Only on the PS3 or the 7? Yeah? Okay.
Only on the PS3. Apparently they've done a deal of some kind. And Microsoft have recently announced Foxtel going.
Yeah, now that one excites me quite a bit. I really like that idea.
That one concerns me, to be honest, because I just can't see it being as good quality as actual Foxtel, especially in terms of HD.
Oh, did you use much of the Xbox's video on demand service?
No, not really. I'm interested to see the PS3 has a video on demand service as well, but it's so ridiculously expensive. I've never bothered.
I don't know about the PS3 version, but I did use a couple on the Xbox version, and it worked really well.
Yeah,
and it looked really good. Their whole buffering system, which isn't buffering, it just lowers the image quality if it's not at a particular level, worked really well. And most of the time it was actually in significant high resolution that it was great. I loved it. It was great. Foxtel, I like the idea. Plus, is it still the case if you're with iiNet, bandwidth doesn't actually count?
That's not
Xbox
true,
5?
Actually. That's not true. That's a misconception a lot of people have. The free play zone, Xbox Live is on the free play zone, but not everything on Xbox Live, and the movie service doesn't count. The movie service is not on that free zone. So whether Foxtel will be, I couldn't
because
say.
that was my only problem with Xbox Live is when I actually did that, I just casually watched a movie at the place that I'm living at the moment. And I don't usually use the internet at home because I'm always at the bar, and I didn't realize they had a 12 gig download limit a month. Yeah. That 12 gig all of a sudden, 10 minutes before the movie ended, it just stopped, and I'm like, oh, that's strange. There must be something wrong with the... No, it just reached that 12 gig limit in an hour.
Maybe it was already kind of close or something.
Probably.
Used up. But
Probably, but still.
We're with iiNet, and I have to say I'm very happy with iiNet because they recently, I don't know if you heard, they recently announced 1 terabyte plans.
Snap!
So 500 gig off-peak, 500 gig on-peak. And everyone who was on their existing plans got massive increases to their quotas.
Cool.
Ours was taken from 85 gig on-peak, 85 off-peak, to 300 on-peak, 300 off-peak. So we have 600...
Almost makes me wish I had shitloads of stuff I wanted to download.
Yeah, well, the good thing for me is that now I don't have to wait until, off-peak to download
that's a good point.
and stuff like that. I can just go.
Yep.
So I'm pretty keen on that, and it does make things like these services a lot more viable.
Go iiNet. You are fantastic.
Yes. What was there was another thing. Yeah. The Move is also coming out probably before we do another podcast.
Yeah, PlayStation Move comes out on the 16th of September, which is not. It's like just a couple of weeks away. Which is
it's like 2
nuts.
weeks.
I do find it funny that Halo Reach, like the biggest Halo launch thing, comes out 2 days before the PlayStation Move.
Yeah,
nice counter-programming there, Microsoft.
Been really interesting watching them try to sort of undercut each other's announcements and stuff. I've noticed a lot of that. You have this, but we have this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the Move. I haven't actually got any hands-on with it yet.
The best I can tell from... I've been watching some videos and stuff. I haven't been able to play it myself. But the best I can tell is that the technology works surprisingly well. That it is extremely effective.
Good.
And very, very accurate.
Tops.
But the games fucking suck.
Okay.
That's less helpful. Admittedly.
Yeah, it is less helpful.
There's just too many kind of mini-games and too many...
the kind of stuff that'll work perfectly at the Manor Bar. But
yes, but maybe not even then, because like a lot of them apparently... There's one called Kung Fu Rider. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Nope.
The principle is fantastic. You basically have one of two characters, a strange kind of... what's the name of the guy from No More Heroes again?
Travis Touchdown.
Yeah. A strange kind of Travis Touchdown-esque reporter.
Yep.
Or some hot Asian chick.
Of course.
And you have to guide them as they write office furniture down
That sounds like genius.
I
wanted to be in the room when those guys came up with that idea.
Fantastic, and sharing some of their coke.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, no, more of a 2 a.m. in the morning. You know, it'd be an awesome idea. We'll get them to ride Office Rush. Yeah,
It is an awesome idea. It's just apparently it fucking sucks.
Right.
So,
well, we'll find out. We'll
Yes.
find out very soon. So.
We will find out very soon.
Actually, there is an Australian-developed game, which is one of the games that's going to be launched for the PlayStation Move. Flight Control.
Really?
Is going to be a launch title on the PlayStation Move.
I did not know that.
So,
I vaguely recall hearing that, actually.
Yeah, good on you, Firemint.
Good on you, Firemint.
On the flip side, I'm just a little bit sick of Flight Control now. Can you come up with something else?
Yeah, release Flight Control and everything.
Come on. We know it. We've played it on every mobile platform now.
And some immobile.
And some immobile ones. I love you guys. You're fantastic. But come on, just something new, please. So
on that pleading note,
yeah,
we should probably end the podcast. What?
Christ.
No, we've talked about everything.
The only point that I actually added to tonight's actually
fine.
proceedings.
We're good. All right, thanks everyone for
Dead Rising 2. I actually got a fantastic chance while I was in Melbourne the other week to actually play a bit of Dead Rising 2. If you read my review, I was a big fan of the first one, even though I know it had its flaws and its faults and its issues, of which there were plenty, but I didn't care because you're in a fucking shopping centre where you can use absolutely anything to kill zombies. There was just something inherently fun about the concept of the game.
Sometimes the premise of a game is all you need to know, and you can just go, yep, that's my thing.
Yeah, Dead Rising, the original, was a game that was so fun you didn't actually have to participate in the story to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And not just for a limited period of time either. As in, I spent hours trying to, going into all the stores in the original Dead Rising, just seeing all the inventive and creative ways in which you could kill zombies. I mean, just being able to get a golf club or a bat or a shopping trolley or just like random things. Dead Rising 2 just steps that up to a ridiculous level. It is more of the same. It's a different character. It's set in a futuristic setting where the zombies are actually they are contained. They're used in sports arenas and things like that as actual like Running Man kind of shows. Sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like post-outbreak.
Yeah. Exactly. But obviously, it all goes wrong, and the zombies and break loose, and you're in another sort of shopping center. But it's a bit more Vegas-y kind of area.
Okay.
Yeah. But the amount, it's same concept, and the mechanic and the engine feels very similar. So if you didn't really dig the fighting mechanic of the first one, doesn't seem to be much of an improvement in this one either, which was a slight issue for some people, especially when in the later levels of the first one when you were playing against non-zombie characters, marine characters, which just were crazy difficult, so I didn't really like that. But playing against the zombies in this one is heaps of fun. One of the best bits is there is now a tool bench where you can take any weapon that you can find and you can make combinations of weapons.
Nice.
As an example, like you pick up a bucket and you pick up a drill. Go to the table, combine them, and it's a bucket drill, which when you go up to a zombie, you stick the bucket on their head and the drills drill into its head and destroy it.
That is retarded.
Yeah, there's so many crazy combination of things that you can actually do in this game. And don't get me wrong, that weapon it's a stupid weapon.
That is useless.
It is useless. You are not going to use that if you are playing the game properly and to try and complete the story or anything like that. It does not compare to like a baseball bat or a shotgun or something like that, of which there are those weapons as well. But it's just so fucking funny. Yeah, it's awesome. So
zombies are great.
I know.
Like, I know everyone. There's kind of a zombie thing.
Yeah,
everyone likes the zombies and talks about the zombie apocalypse and so on, and that's cool and everything. But zombies are just such a good adversary because they're humanoid. They're human.
Yeah,
so,
but you don't feel that guilt.
There's no sympathy for zombies.
No, it's brilliant. So I might actually do up a bit of a preview on Dead Rising 2. But look, I really like the first one. So if you really like the first one, I think they have addressed a couple of the issues. Combat doesn't seem to be one of them, but the actual difficulty level seems to be a little bit better. The actual saving of characters, actually, I don't know. To be honest, it just felt like more of the same, except more. So, and I like the first one, so yeah.
Yep.
That's all I can really say about that. And the combining of weapons thing is just brilliant.
Yep.
So, I'm trying to think of other ones. I just remember picking up a bunch of weapons and going to go back to the bench area sort of thing where I can combine them, but not even getting there because I just had too much fun picking stuff up and dropping. Like, I saw a toaster and I'm like, awesome, I'm sure this will combine with something. And then just didn't get around to taking it back because I just used it to beat up zombies with toasters, which is just fun.
Inherently funny.
Inherently funny. So, yeah.
Before we go, because I think we kind of should call it quits there.
Probably.
I just wanted to mention that we've got an Assassin's Creed Brotherhood competition running at the moment that you can win
for the beta. Yeah.
So if you're into the Assassin's Creed series, and I know a lot of people are, this is a PlayStation 3 beta, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is the multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see how this is going to work. So
yeah, so if you're also very curious to see how this is going to work, maybe find out by getting into the beta.
How do you enter the competition? No, really, how do you?
Just jump into AustralianGamer.com and you'll see all the details and how to enter and so on written on there. Because I don't know.
Right. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay. I think we're done. I think we should probably head off and go to our own separate lives and do some exciting things.
As in, when you say own separate lives, you mean you stay here and I go back to the bar?
You go back to the bar.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Thank you.
Woo!
We'll have another one up next week, like, totally for sure.
Oh, totally. It's totally going to happen.
It's funny when we say that because people go, but they didn't.
Actually, and then they're surprised that and it's not that we're lying to you; it's that we're lying to ourselves.
It is exactly that. But it's a bit like Bart going for the cupcake and continually getting zapped.
So, ow!
But you didn't do it again. But yeah.
Bart 0, cupcake 1.
So yeah, we'll be back again next week, guys. We'll talk you through something.
Indeed. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you later.
You wouldn't happen to have forgotten something there?
No, I think we covered everything. We had a list. We're going through it. We're going one.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything this week.
Yeah. We were even checking stuff.
Well, there's something else coming out next week.
Hold on, who are you?
I'm Yahtzee, remember? I live here.
You must be famed internet celebrity and reviewer Yahtzee.
Yes.
Croshaw.
You aren't by any chance known for anything else, are you?
Oh, I will be. And you know damn well what that is. And you said you'd mention it in this podcast.
Do you have a book coming out?
Funny you should say that. Yes, my debut novel comes out next week.
Yeah, so I actually went into a bookshop to attempt to find that. And I went into the bookshop and I'm like, so do you have Mogworld? And the guy's like, what?
Yeah, I've been hearing that story a lot.
Well, I'll have you know that Yahtzee actually got his first copy the other day.
Yes, it's very nice.
Brought it into the bar, and you should all... I read the first 3 words and my dick exploded. I'm trying to give you good publicity.
I know what those words are. And
I don't think that's good publicity.
Really?
I don't want my dick exploding. Everyone, stay away from this book.
No,
stay away. Do not read this book.
Do not stay away. It will not make your dick explode. But you can come to the Manor Bar next week on the
September the 8th.
September the 8th, and you can come to the bar, and we've got 100 copies to sell, and I'll be there signing them.
You cannot come to the bar if you're in Uzbekistan. If you're Brisbane, that works, but...
Come to the bar and your dick will explode!
No, it won't. Dude, we're trying to run a business here.
You do not sell things well.